Greetings from beautiful Dubai, sunny as always, and yeah, loving it here at the beach, and yeah, just such a magical place, so peaceful and calm. But anyway, today what I want to talk to you about are my 3 favorite currencies that I'm already investing in and planning to invest in. And I think those currencies will future-proof myself, will help me to earn more in the future, but also store my value and just be diversified, right? Because, the future is so uncertain. We don't know so many things, what will happen in the world. And I think those 3 currencies, at least in my eyes, currently, as we speak right now, are probably pretty future-proof, and that's why I like to invest in them. Now, when we talk about currency, what is a currency? Currency is a medium of exchange, right? It's something that is universally accepted, in certain parts of the world, but basically you can use that something and turn it into something else. It's a basic agreed upon medium of exchange. So that's essentially what a currency is. So the first off I want to talk about is the fiat currency. Now that's a classical one that all of us have in some way, shape or form. That could be pounds, dollars, euros, what have you, right? And yeah, obviously we're all going to have it. We're going to be paid by our clients, by our employer. And essentially, I don't think it's going to go away. This has existed for so many years in the past, and I think it will continue to last in the future as well. Because it's something people understand, it's easy to store. But I think at the same time, obviously, we're going to go more digital in the future. So there's already talks about CBDCs, where basically you have currency from the central government that is digital fiat in a way, right? They already have the digital yuan in China. They're talking about digital dollar coming up, digital euro and so on. So I do believe it will become digitalized in the future. But for the time being, we have the good old fiat currency. Even though most of my income is currently earned in euros, I'm actually really making an effort to convert most of it into US dollars. Now, I know some of you might say, well, US dollars are not really safe. But honestly, when I look at it over the years and we look at all the other currencies, and I lived in many different countries around the world, I would really bet on the US dollar long term. And that's why I'm really making an effort to have most of my money, my investments, in USD or USD equivalent, because I really believe in the future, I don't know what's going to happen to the euro. When I look at the euro right now, the euro economy and what's happening amongst the different countries, I could potentially see quite a few issues in the future. Would I invest into Chinese RMB? No, definitely not. Would I invest all my money into Indian rupee? No. So, how many other options do you have? Now, the Swiss franc obviously is a great currency to have, but in my case, it doesn't really make sense as I don't really transact much in francs. But I'm myself based now in Dubai, right? And the Dubai currency, the dirham, is pegged to the dollars. So it's not 1-to-1, but it's pegged. So basically it moves directly up and down with the dollar. So in my way, it's really beneficial to have more dollars, obviously, because it makes things easier exchanging it and so on. So honestly, there's so many reasons why I like the dollar. And in the past, the dollar used to be backed by gold, right? The gold standard. And that was nice until they didn't and they changed it. But now, for better or for worse, it's, in my eyes, backed by military, right? I mean, if there's anybody trying to mess with the dollar, you will feel the power of the US one way or the other. So I'm really confident about it. Like it or not, I would love for it to be euro, and I still have euros. Obviously, I'm not abandoning the euro. I think it's probably the second strongest currency if I had to choose from the ones I could potentially get my hands on. But I think dollars is the way I want to go. I only buy US stocks. Most of my dividend stocks are US based. My Bitcoin holding is obviously, could be turned into anything, whatever you sell it for. So that's a good thing about Bitcoin. We'll speak about this in a second. But yeah, for now, most of my currency holdings is actually dollar based. And I like it, and I will definitely make sure I will increase that number in the future. Now, the second currency that I'm actively investing in is cryptocurrency. But not any cryptocurrency, but particularly Bitcoin. I believe in the future, and it may take a couple of years from now, it will really eventually replace gold because it has many of the characteristics, but also many more benefits on top of gold. And I really don't see how in 30, 40 years down the road, and we're still going to be holding and hoarding gold somewhere at the bank or in our own safe at home, because we're going to be living in such a digitalized world that, physical gold, honestly, as much as we want to believe it, I don't really think it's going to add much more value to it. So yeah, I like Bitcoin that it's capped. There's a certain cap to it. It has many benefits. Obviously, I don't want to make a praise video about Bitcoin, but I really do believe that the long-term prospects are really good. I'm not the one speculating or trading. Yes, am I excited about the Bitcoin halving coming up? Yes, do I believe the price will increase in the short term? Absolutely. But will it also drop afterwards? Most likely, right? So it's fluctuating, right? It's not stable. Same as gold price is fluctuating. That's normal. But long term, I really do believe that it is a store of value, if not an increase. But it's not an investment for me. It's not something where I think, oh my God, I'm going to 10x my value in the next 2-3 years. If it does, great. I mean, I'm happily taking it, but it's more really, as I said, a store of value, right? I have my fiat money in dollars, and then of course, to store the value, some of the money and the profits and investments that I made, I can then keep in Bitcoin and be mobile, right? It's a great thing. Wherever I move in the world, I can take my Bitcoin. I mean, right now, I could buy probably any of those apartments with Bitcoin in UAE, and more countries are being open to Bitcoin. I mean, we've seen recently BlackRock coming out with their first Bitcoin ETF. So this is really becoming mainstream and generally more accepted, which is a good thing for the overall adoption. And I think as the years go by, more and more people will understand it and will own more Bitcoin, and that will only bring the value up for it. So yeah, this is not investment advice, of course, as I'm sharing just my own thoughts and ways of investing. But this is really, as I said, not investing, it's just diversifying your currency holdings. And that brings me to the last one, and that's maybe a little bit unusual for some of you, but I would really consider reach. Like actual social media reach, engaged community as a currency. Because in a way, as we said, it's a medium of exchange, right? If you have an engaged audience or following online, you could turn that into literal money, right? If they're really engaged and they trust you and they believe in you and they follow you, you could monetize that later down the road. You have access for more people because it gives you credibility. So I'm not talking about pure vanity metrics such as subscriber numbers. That can be useless. You can buy these things, right? But I'm talking about a real engaged audience, and I see that all the time. People who really have a almost cult following of followers who really trust and believe the things that people say. I mean, that's the best currency you can have, because it doesn't matter what we're going to have in 10, 15, 20 years, if it's the euro, the dollar, the digital yuan, what have you. In the end, if you have an engaged audience and they really believe you and trust and follow you, if you want to sell your course, if you want to sell your products, they're going to buy it, and you'll be able to turn that into any kind of monetary, as I said, if it's going to be the digital yuan, the Bitcoin or the Ethereum, whatever it will be, you can turn that. It's a medium of exchange. And for me, that's something only in the last few years I really started to understand and appreciate of how important that really is. So I'm a little bit late to the party, I must say, but now over the last, I would say, 2.5 years, I've been actively trying to build up my reach, so to say, my online persona, because previously I was more a private person. I didn't really want to put myself out there, but now that I have started to do so, I already start seeing really great opportunities coming out of this, financial rewards, of course, but really, as I said, being invited to some nice events, networking opportunities, meet great people, get inspired, and yeah, for me, that's just so amazing. And I'm just a tiny fish, but I'm really trying to deliver value to all of you guys. And obviously, that hopefully translates to great results for those people who follow me. And yeah, long term, I can turn this into anything I want. And as long as it brings you value, this in return will be my kind of currency that I put out there, and that I'll be able to turn into whatever I want to, right? You could later on turn that into real estate, right? In a way, you could say that real estate is a form of currency because it's a medium of exchange, right? If you have an apartment over here, somebody will give you money for that, right? You could turn that into some other form of currency, even though it is less liquid, let's say, right? In order to turn it into real money, into euros or dollars, it will take you a while probably to sell it. It's not very immediate, but long term, you could do that as well. So technically, there are many other forms of currencies out there. I mean, back in the day, it used to be, food, right? Food could be a currency. I mean, if you're in a place where there's no food at all, and you're the one with the banana, and I'm talking about the food banana, then obviously, that can be really monetized, and people will give you whatever you want in return, right? It's a medium of exchange. So in my eyes, obviously there are many different ones, but having a dollar, Bitcoin, and reach long term, I think I'm going to be well diversified to capitalize on anything that will happen in the future. That's as I'm speaking right now. The world is super dynamic. I mean, it's absolutely crazy at what speed we're going these days. So if it changes, I will change as well. But I think it's important to not put all your eggs into one basket, same as investing, right? That's why I don't want to have all my holdings into euro, let's say, because we never know what the euro will bring. I mean, I was born in Germany. We used to have the Deutschmark before, and then they switched to euro. And guess what? I mean, the value of all the Deutschmark was slashed literally in half. So for most people, they literally lost 50% of their value by converting it into euro. And we've seen that time and time again with different currencies. So I'm really a big believer in being diversified and not having all your eggs in one basket. And also one thing that just came to my mind was that in the past, it was obviously very difficult to have different currencies and exchange from one to the other. But these days, it's so super simple. I mean, most banks or brokers or fintech apps these days, they offer multi-currency accounts free of charge most of the time, right? So why not start converting some of your local currencies into different currency, just to start playing around with it, have a hedge in case something happens. I used to invest in US dollar stocks, but have all my accounts shown to me in euros. And sometimes I would log in after a couple of weeks and see, oh my God, I'm investing euro. All my portfolio went up so significantly. But in the end, it wasn't actually the stock that performed so well, but the currency exchange. In this case, it was a favorable exchange towards the euro, so I benefited. But vice versa, sometimes I had months where my stocks did really well, but then I logged in and my total value was down. But that was because the euro currency dropped versus the dollar. And that's why I prefer investing into the native currency, right? If I invest in Dubai, I would invest in dirhams. That's the local currency. If I invest in US dollar stocks, I want to buy with dollars, right? And the same for me, if I want to have a store of value, that's why I use Bitcoin, right? So different currencies for different purposes. As I'm putting myself out here, I'm building my social digital currency, so to say, by having more followers and engaged community in the long term. So yeah, that's my digital assets I kind of put out to the world, which, you know, hopefully gains traction and value over time as well. So you can see how that is becoming easier and easier. The same with exchange. I mean, I remember the first time I went traveling somewhere and then, you know, everybody was rushing to these foreign exchange bureaus to exchange their hard-earned money, the bills, into some other different currencies. I remember how I got screwed a few times, scammed actually. The first time in Czech Republic, I think they gave me a wrong currency. It was just such a mess. But these days, you know, using apps like Revolut, for example, I mean, I don't even think about currency conversion anymore. It's just done in the moment. You don't even have to exchange it before your trip. It's literally done in the moment. There are no fees depending which plan you're on. So honestly, I love it. It's getting so much easier, and really there's no reason not to have multiple currencies. And by the way, guys, look at this. How stunning is this place? We have the Palm over here, just over there, and we have a new development over here, Dubai Harbor. That didn't exist a couple of years ago. Well, in fact, actually the Palm also doesn't exist a couple of years ago. It just shows you at what pace Dubai is developing. I mean, when I came here the first time back in 2005, behind me, Dubai Marina was literally, you know, the latest development. And there was, I mean, a fraction of these high skyscrapers. And now it's like so many new buildings and new ones coming all the time. They're actually building a new Palm, which is almost twice the size, I believe, than the Palm we have over here. So absolutely mind-boggling. The vision of Dubai is crazy. I love it. I mean, I like crazy. It really attracts talented people. There's soon going to be some different crypto-related and fintech-related conferences. So I hope to be invited there, not as a speaker for now, but as an attendee. So I'm definitely going to feature those as well. And that's for me so amazing to see, to be part of it, build a network, and yeah, hopefully in the process be useful to you as well. And while we're here, let's also manifest one thing. I want to one day, I don't know when, it might take a while, but I don't care. One day I'm gonna have a mastermind with some of you guys joining me here, probably somewhere in Dubai. Yes, it's gonna be in Dubai, in a nice place, nice hotel somewhere. We spend a few days together and really talk about inspiring things, obviously money related, how to make money, save money, invest money, all these things, and how to also invest ourselves, you know, the mindset, the health set. As you know, I really believe in fitness and health. So yeah, I want to do that. I think it's going to be awesome. It's going to be amazing. And hopefully the faster we grow this channel, the community will get this underway. I'm really excited for it. So guys, I really appreciate all of you for watching, for tuning in. It means the world to me. Your comments, love reading those. So yeah, thanks for everything. And honestly, we're just getting started. Next up, check out this video here. As always, thanks a lot for watching. Stay healthy, get wealthy, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.